Welcome to the Ports Garrison. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Greetings. Welcome to the Ports Garrison. Now, all our lives have been told that education is the key. Education is the key to success. Education is the great equalizer. Education is power, and education is the most powerful weapon. Now, if it's the key, then it implies that it opens a door to somewhere, entrance to something. It is imperative that we understand the state of what it opens to. And so, today, I want to share with you a presentation by Senator Damion Crawford, the opposition spokesperson on education in the State of the Nation series in the Parliament, in the Senate, as he shares his thoughts on the state of education in Jamaica today. Now, this is a long presentation, so I've cut it in 3 parts. We'll first share part 1, then part 2, and part 3. As I said, it's a long presentation. I don't want to add my own personal thoughts to it. I just want you to listen, and at the end of it, you can offer your thoughts and your comments. So take a listen and a look at what the Senator had to say.
Mr. President, this presentation I'm making today is under the name Code Red because the education sector is indeed in a state of emergency. Yes. The education sector is what defines who we are based on what the children understood to be proper and rightful learning in the past, they act in the present. Yes. If we do not understand the nexus between a state of the nation as is and the state of education, then I'm going to seek to take this effort to teach what is that nexus as we move forward. The first phrase of the education sector plan, Mr. President, states that Jamaica's Vision 2030 education sector plan, every child can learn and every child must learn. Mr. Speaker, Code Red is defined as Mr. President, as a very serious security warning or threat, indicates emergency situation or threat of dangerous situation that has deteriorated drastically so as to continue an emergency. Mr. President, let us look at what it has been stated in the Vision 2030 plan. It is indeed a good representation of what a Christian country should always embark on to ensure that there is a role for both God and man in the execution of our activities. When it says every child can learn, that is what God's gift has been to our children. Indeed, Janice and darling, you have always heard me say, none of us were born with their talking. We learned to talk. We weren't born walking. We learned to walk. So God's gift is evident from the 9-month-old that a child can learn. It means that, Senator Campbell, if our children were bright at 9 months, it is the failing of men why they're dunce at 19. Yes. If our children learn to walk and talk, then what is the reason they can't learn math and English? Yeah. And so therefore, while God has taken and played his role, our systems have failed our children moving forward. I'm going to look at some of the failures that are happening within our system, and Senator Golden, I'm going to ask you please to look at some of the numbers that we're presenting, because you recognize, as you stated last week, it's an emergency situation. I'm going to start with PEP. At the PEP level, we found that 18,000 males, 17,000 females, approximately 36,000 children sat the PEP examinations in 2022. The number that was absent for whatever reason was only 2%, and that is not unreasonable because they might be sick or all of these things that way. So therefore, at this age, 36,000 or 35,292 sat the PEP examinations. So, President, a summary of the report will show that there are 4 categories that children would have been placed in based on those results out of that 2022. This is for 2022. And this is information produced in a report that was distributed by the Ministry of Education under the signature of Minister Favor Williams. Sorry? Grade 6 PEP results. So, what I have are 4 categories: beginning, developing, proficient, and highly proficient. And all students would be placed in one of those categories. The first 2 would suggest they are not proficient, and the second 2 would suggest they have achieved proficiency. So I will just take this time to give you a conversation, Sophie, of what these mean. Beginning students at this level demonstrate limited or no evidence of required competence necessary at grade 6. As specified in the National Standards Curriculum, these students will need intensive ongoing academic support in grade 7. Developing students at this level demonstrates partial evidence of required competence necessary for grade 6 level. As specified in the National Standards Curriculum, these students will need targeted academic support in grade 7. So therefore, those 2, both the beginning, if you may go back, Sophie, the beginning and the developing are not at the level that they are able to be left without additional support, Senator Samunda. The other 2 are now the ones who have gained the proficiency. And here it says students at this level demonstrate adequate evidence of the required competence necessary for at grade 6, as specified under the National Standards Curriculum. These students may need minimal academic support or extended learning activities. So even though number 3 was said to be proficient, they still were not able to be independent, needed some additional support at that level. And the final, which is highly proficient, students at this level demonstrate an advanced level of competence necessary at grade 6, as specified by the National Standards Curriculum. They may need extended learning activities at grade 7 because of their abilities. They make them do more things and you do whatever. So what we have found was the results. I'll now have them put forward for you. In mathematics, Senator Golding, 17,307 or 49% of our students did not achieve proficiency. In mathematics, 17,307 or 49% did not achieve proficiency. You see the results here. It is taken almost 8% of our boys was at the beginning stage and they're in grade 6. And an additional 46.8% of our boys was at the developmental stage. So therefore, at the mathematics, 17,307 were not proficient going into grade 7. For social studies, 16,401 or 46% of our children did not achieve proficiency. 16,401 did not achieve proficiency. In sciences, 16,249 or 46% did not achieve mastery or proficiency in sciences. Remember, the proficiency have a lower level proficiency and the ultimate level of proficiency. They did not achieve not even the lower level, level 3 of proficiency. And in language arts, 8,063 or 23% did not achieve proficiency in language arts. You see, there's a thing about numbers, you know, that when you come from these 16,000, the 8,000 don't sound so bad, like, well, that's not so bad. But 8,000 of our children. Senator Campbell, if we start at 8,000, I would have said 2,000 or so bad. But because we start at 16 and 17,000, did not receive minimum proficiency moving forward. Now, Mr. President, would you believe in the same report put forward under the signature of the ministry and the signature of the minister, I quote, the minister said, based on the students' performance, it is evident that education system at the primary level is moving in the right direction. Mr. President, what we have just highlighted here could not lead to a conclusion by a minister that education, at best, it shows that education is still in crisis. But it cannot suggest that it is moving in the right direction when 17 and 16,000 of our children was not achieving mastery. Unless you're coming from the full 30,000. And when we look back at some of the historical data, especially at the GSAT level, which is an unfair combination at different exams, they were at 55 and 56%. It would have been immaterial changes up or down compared to 2018 numbers or 2019 numbers. So what we have found is an untruthful analysis, a head in the sand, that will therefore not lead to sufficient intervention if after the numbers we have shown in the same document says that based on the students' performance, the numbers we have shown, it is evident that education system at the primary level, which is where the prep exam is done, is moving in the right direction. If it is for that alone, we could have called for the resignation of the Minister of Education. That is unfortunate and irresponsible. Mr. President, we move to CXCs, and I hope to be able to identify the results. CSEC, yes, showing our age. The failure, I'm gonna state it though. Mr. President, the failure become even worse at the secondary level. So we started Senator Bunting bad, and it deteriorates as we move forward. The 2022 results again gained by the Ministry of Education, and here I must congratulate the ministry. Oftentimes you're finding it difficult to get information when you request it. In less than a day, the ministry was willing to provide information that I requested, and I must thank the team at the ministry. And maybe thank even the minister, because some ministers kind of make people feel afraid to share this information. But the information that the ministry sent suggests that in 2017, 26,070 children sat or was entered for English A. And it suggests 70% pass English A. In 2018, 24,805 and 75% pass. In 2019, it says 24,069, 82% pass. And in 2020, 23,719, 86% pass. And unfortunately, going down in 2021, 73% pass out of the 22,765. It don't sound bad. It don't sound bad. You then go to mathematics, 23,000 in 2017, 965, 50% pass. 2018, 22,813, 57% pass. We move forward to 2021 for saving time, 42% pass, coming from 62% pass in 2020. It don't sound bad. But Senator Golding, I have had opportunities to be in schools. I was a teacher in school before, and I volunteer to teach in different schools. And it drew to my mind, I started to question, but this don't look as bad as I think it is. Because if you look at English, which we are saying is a second language, 82% pass in 2019, no sound bad. But I remember having gone to an inner city school, and I asked the principal, give me all your maths children, I will give them a few hours. And only 28 children showed up. So I then sent back to the ministry to say, okay, you send me how many sat the exam, send me how much was enrolled in school. Okay. When you check how much was enrolled in school, Senator Fraser Bates, you see a very different situation. Well, COVID would have been 2020, so the performance in 2019 and 2018 would not have been. So maybe the ministry could say 2021 would have been COVID impacted because 2021 was very poor. You understand? So we would have said maybe have a point with that one. But let us look at how many people were enrolled. In 2017, 39,178 children were enrolled. Only 26,000 was allowed to sit. 13,000 was not allowed to sit. A third of the cohort.
You mean not qualified to sit?
Well, allowed might be an improper term. I don't know if they wanted to sit. They did not sit. 13,000, a third. In 2018, 36,260 students were enrolled. 24,805 entered that exam. 12,000. A third was not entered in this examination. I come to 2020 for the sake of time. 35,511, only 23,719 entered. 12 more thousand was not allowed or did not sit. I don't want to be, because if Senator Jackson Smith was here, point of information, how you know they were not allowed? Right. I stand corrected. Did not sit. Did not sit. Because I do not want now the principals to be lambasted, to say that they are seeking to protect their numbers. Because later down you realize that there are reasons that some might not have sat this examination. Mr. President, when you look at these numbers, it suggests that in English language, not 87% and 74%, 48% in 2017, based on the enrollment numbers. 2017. Before COVID. 50% in 2018. 54% in 2019. In the belly of COVID, 57%. And in 2021, 42%. This is an emergency situation. But you don't see the level of the emergency until you look at mathematics. In 2021, 36,748 students were enrolled. Only 20,348 sat the exam. Not passed the exam, you know. Sat the exam. Of those total enrolled, 22% passed mathematics. Of the enrollment numbers, 22% pass what is a key subject of logic. No wonder our children are incapable to reason. 2021. Well, I don't know what they're going to blame on the opposition. But the lack of logic and reasoning may be why you have some people who commit a murder and don't recognize the finality of their actions. Incapable to see and solve forex. Senator Samuda, if this is not an emergency, I do not know what is an emergency. Senator Fraser Bates, go again and let me go to that one. Yes, go to the other one. So we start to look at 5 subjects, including mathematics. 5 subjects, including mathematics, is what is perceived to be a minimum reasonable achievement for graduation at the CXC level. But it's also the standard for joining the police force. So I use it to connect the dots. Because the police force can't get enough people. Now, why is it that they can't get enough people? One of the reasons, they are not qualified to meet the standard. So bad is the situation, Senator Samuda, that the police force no longer asks for maths. It asks for a number subject. So you can go with accounts. What? Accounts is not a measure of reasoning. which is a skill you want police to have. Accounts is not a measure of logics. Accounts is simply a numbers course. That is where we are. But let us look. This is information provided by the Ministry of Education. In 2020, 28.4% of the cohort get 5 subjects, including maths and English. Imagine, Senator Campbell, what would be the uproar in the United States if 28% get a GED? What would be the uproar? But in 2021, it gets worse. 17%. 17% of our children get 5 subjects, including maths and English. We could go forward on the analysis, because at this time now, I figured that maybe the president now would say, what about 2022? Why you don't put 2022? 2022 was worse.
Speaker's time has expired. Remember, I had a long run-up, you know.
Okay,
Senator.
yes.
Mr. President, given that the Speaker's time has expired, I move that we extend the time for him to complete his presentation in a reasonable period of time. Thank you.
I've heard the question, the Speaker's time to be extended for him to complete his presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Senator.
Okay, so now that you've finished watching part 1, I want to encourage you to come back to see parts 2 and 3. Now, if you click the notification icon, it will notify you when parts 2 and 3 are uploaded. I won't take very long to upload them. So thank you for watching part 1, and I'll see you again for part 2. Thank you. One love.
Thanks for watching.